Okay, I'm just getting the live stream sorted out. Shouldn't take too long, and we'll just go and check the volumes because I turned the volumes right down earlier. So it's looking better. Put the microphone close to my mouth. Okay, so we've got the ATR on the ground at Songshan, which is in Taipei in Taiwan. So if we go and have a look at the route map. In fact, I need to clear this one and import from Simbrief. Open flight plan from Simbrief, download the flight plan. Interesting, so we've got a waypoint on the flight plan that's not in Little... Oh, I need to reload because I upgraded the Navigraph data earlier. So we'll download it anyway. And then create the flight plan. And we can see there's the plan. And we've got the wind barbs on because this is getting near the limit of the range of the ATR. So I was a bit paranoid, but it looks like the weather's going to be kind to us mostly. We're not going to be facing into this southerly over the East China Sea. So I think we should be okay. So let's go and open Navigraph as well while we're at it. And we'll pull the data into Navigraph. So new flight, oh no, not new flight, import flight from Simbrief. That one. So there's our flight plan. It's got a lot of waypoints on it, hasn't it? So let's go and jump inside the airplane and close the doors. We'll leave the wheel chocks in place. I've already taken the liberty of pulling the flight plan in from Simbrief, and we've set the flight plan, which I presume puts it into the navigation computer when we get it fired up as a bit of a shortcut. I've already set the fuel and the payload, so according to what Simbrief has got. So if we go and look in here, we'll see what we've got. And so payload weight, 0 fuel weight, center of gravity, trim. Interesting. Performance. Aircraft configuration, maintenance. I don't think there's anything broken, or I've not flown this airplane for a long time. Okay, anyway. Oh, I wonder if we ought to look at throttle setup. So if I go into control options before we get started, and we'll have a play with that and make sure it's working correctly. So I want this to be just set on 2 engine, don't I? So if I apply that, if I go into the sensitivities as well, yeah, this has got an offset at the moment, but it's probably correct for the reversers, to be honest. So if we go throttle setup, it's dual axis, reverser. Throttle hardware has a reverser axis. Now let's see what that means in terms of this. Is it configured or not? Yeah, it is. So if I do that, yeah, obviously that's going to hit the gust locks there. That looks fine. So I don't have to do that. So we can cancel out of here. It's carried it over from the other ATRs. So we'll leave the flight plan page up on there and we'll work around the airplane. So Control 6 takes us overhead and we'll go and put the battery on. And wait for screens 2 and 4 to come up in the cockpit. Clear the caution. So we just run through getting the airplane ready. Yeah, you can see, look, it's already got the flight plan, which is really good. Fantastic. That saves us a lot of work. Okay, we have the screens 2 and 4 are up. So then back overhead, we're going to go to the external lights section, which is down here, and turn the nav lights to on. And then go to the hydraulic auxiliary pump. We're going to go and start in hotel mode just because it's fun to do. So we press hydraulic pump. This comes up saying ready. So then we get to switch the prop brake on. which we've done. Okay, so back overhead, we've got more to do up here. So seatbelts can go to on now. Emergency exit light can go to armed. Windshield heating, which is here, can go to on. It will say fault, but that's absolutely fine at the moment. And then we can put the enunciation light to bright. Then oxygen main supply to on. So then back in the cockpit, we are going to check the gust lock is on. It is. Otherwise, this doesn't work. So overhead, control 6, engine 2 pump to run on. Engine start, ignition knob to A. And then start 2. And then we can look down at the numbers, and as it comes up through 10%, we can advance the fuel condition immediately to the first notch, FTR, or feather, and wait for it to come round. If we look outside, you'll see no propeller is spinning, because we're in hotel mode. We got the prop brake on. So then, overhead, once the engine is happy, and it looks to be happy already, just waiting for that temperature to stabilise. It's looking good. We can go and turn off the engine start system for the moment. So having got some more power, you can see the other 3 screens are now coming alive because we've got an engine generating electricity. Just check the volumes. I'm always a bit paranoid about the volumes. I hear so many other YouTubers where they haven't set them correctly. The reason you see me fiddle with it is I don't have 2 screens. I only have 1 screen. So you get full disclosure of everything I'm doing. You see me do it. Okay, so the screens are alive. So then we can go to the FGCP up here, and we can go and start setting things up. So ideally we want to see this at the same time, which is always a bit difficult for resolution. So we're going to go and climb out to 10,000 feet for most of our route. Actually, what does our flight plan say? If we go to Simbrief and have a look, dashboard, and it's this one, isn't it? VFA 13, yeah. So view it. 19,000 feet is our cruising altitude according to the plan, and if we want it to be accurate, we'll go and set our target altitude to 19,000. So that's what we're climbing out to. So we get 19,000 on the target, and so heading to the initial runway direction. So we're leaving Songshan runway 10, which is 97 degrees. So we're going to move that bug around to 97 degrees. Okay, so we can bring up the bearings on the primary flight display, so they come up down in the corners here. So they'll be pre-programmed in for anything we want to use along the way. We're not using nav radios because we're not talking to we're not using com radios because we're not talking to ATC. We can select the nav source, so we're using GPS, so FM is correct. Okay, so then Control 4 will bring us down to the MCDU, and it's already got everything in it, to be honest. So does that mean then it's already done the initialization page as well? So if we go menu and enter, isn't it? So FMS init, pos init. Has it already got it? GPS position, last position, init position. Okay, so we'll pick up the GPS and do sensors init. Yes, we do have to still work through some of it. Then we go back to the weight page. So it's put the route in, but nothing else. So we can long click on each of these fields, and it will put the weight numbers that I'm presuming have come across. So fuel on block 2,833 kilograms. Block fuel 2,872 kilograms. That's interesting, not quite as much. Probably because we've been running on hotel mode for a little while already. I wonder if we can up it. Let's have a look and give ourselves a margin if they've got any room to give ourselves a margin. So yeah, we're going to give ourselves significantly more than they've said here. If we can get away with it. Are we still within limits? Just. Just giving ourselves a massive insurance policy. Okay. So then we come back in and we go into... Oh, we need to go and long click these again, don't we? So that's still correct. Fuel on block should have changed though. And there it goes. We've got almost double now, which is good. Route. So nav data. That's correct. Flight plan, route. And this has all been done for us. So we've already got this. Do we have to save that? Or is that to save it within the aircraft? I can never remember how this works. No, I think that's done. We'll see when this comes up with the navigation screens, won't we? Let's just try it and see what happens. Save route. Not allowed. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so execute doesn't do anything at this point. So I think we're pretty much there. So, cockpit. We can pre-select LNAV and VNAV. So if you watch the modes up here, we can go for nav, which is LNAV, and it will pre-select it. We should be able to pre-select heading mode as well. So we'll do that until it picks up LNAV. We can also do the same with vertical speed and VNAV. So we can go and pre-select, say, about 2,000 on the climb out, 2,000 feet per minute. And we can also set the speed bug. So we'll calibrate the altimeters while we're here, and we'll calibrate any gyros, and we'll set the speed bug. So at the moment, we'll set it for 150 knots will be okay. Just to target if we wanted to use, so we could climb using indicated airspeed mode. Yeah, instead of vertical speed, which is the safer method to use. So you might want to pull that down to say 140, and then it will use any excess power left to turn it into climb rate, and then we can manage it on the way out. That's fine. So tablet, go to the aircraft tab, and we close the doors. Remove tail prop. Yep, that's done. We can remove the wheel chocks now. It won't hurt. So in the cockpit, we're going to go to make sure the EFIS is showing the performance page. So press the perf button down here, and it will come up over here, and we can confirm the takeoff data. And then we can switch, make sure the trim is in the middle of the marker there. So we're just moving the trim to balance the aeroplane as it accelerates down the runway. There we go. Okay, so we've already removed the wheel chocks. Make sure the parking brake is on, and the emergency parking brake is on at the moment as well. So, I'm not sure that's mapped, but anyway. Release the prop brake. So, I think I've got a mistake in here. Engine 2 release. Okay, yeah. So, Control 6, we go and put the beacon light on. I'm just misreading my own instructions. Control 5 takes us down here, so I'm going to do this from the pilot eye view. So what we're going to do, having put the beacon light on, is press that hydraulic button again. And we're going to go and take the prop brake off. And if we go and look outside, oh, is it going to play games with us again? So let's put that back. Cancel the alarm. We had fun with this the other day. So we'll put the prop brake back on. And we'll press the button. And it says it's... Is it lit up ready yet? No. Do it again. It's ready. Take that off. And we got the prop. Yeah, maybe I didn't press it the first time. Maybe I missed it. Okay, so we can then advance that through to auto. And you will see the numbers pick up. You'll see this speed up. Okay, so now we can go and do engine number 1 start. So Control 6, turn the ignition system back on, put the pump on for number 1, and start number 1. And you'll see the numbers coming up over here. So when it goes to 10%, again, we can advance on. And we can go straight for auto this time. We don't have to wait. So we just wait for it to stabilize. Looking like it's pretty much there. And then we can go and turn the ignition system off. And we can prepare to taxi. So gust lock comes off. Overhead, we go and put the taxi lights to on. So I'm just trying to remember where they are. There we go. Taxi lights are underneath there. And then we're going to set the flaps for takeoff. So we'll go and go 15 degrees on the flaps. Make sure I've got them on the correct detent there. Go to the serve page on the FMS and go and set up the transponder. So we'll switch it on. We're not actually going to be using it, but it's just part of the procedure, so we're going to do it. Pre-select the throttle target airspeed. We already did that. So, taxi. We can go and release that emergency brake. Let's go and see which way we need to taxi out then. So we're going to do an immediate left turn and then follow the taxi right out to the runway. So, I've got toe brakes working, which is good. We're gonna, whoops, we don't want that on. We want to move that one. That's it. Let's just slow ourselves down a bit. We went racing off there. Should we put the head tracking on now? Okay, so we're just going to carry on around down towards the runway. So we're all configured and ready to go. So although saying that, we haven't configured the navigation display, have we? We're still showing engine data over there, so we'll go and put that back to nav, but we'll wait until we're on the runway. We're not going to need anything like the full runway, so I'm tempted to sneak off the taxiway here and do it. It's not a very detailed rendition of it, is it? But the ground painting isn't entirely correct. It's one of the ones that's been done procedurally, I guess. we'll just line ourselves up, and then we'll do the final few bits on the checklist before takeoff, and we'll get that nav display sorted out. So, turn the head tracking off for a moment. We're going to go and press, where is it? Nav, here, which will show the radios, but we want to show ND for this screen. And if we change the roller on it, we can change the mode. So we can put it on rose mode, and then we can zoom out as well. Or zoom, increase the range, sorry. There we go. That's a bit better, isn't it? So, what else do we need to do? So, overhead, go and turn the probe heats on. Turn the strobes to on. Put the logo. Should we put the logo light on? Tell everybody who we are. And we can put the landing lights on while we're on the runway. Make sure the power management is in takeoff mode. It is. Have a quick check, see if there's any warnings anywhere. It's just complaining we haven't done the procedures, which is absolutely fine because we're not worried about doing them. Can we get rid of that proc menu? Or we can just clear it. There we go. It says procedure pending, but we're not going to do it. It's just a box ticking exercise. Okay. So I'm going to do this takeoff without head tracking so I can click on things fairly quickly if I need to. Should we put some lights on in the cockpit actually? Where's the interior lights on this thing? It's quite dark, isn't it? That's the radar. Control 6. I can't remember where they are. External lights. Where's the floodlights? Does anybody in the live stream know? Ah, dome, here we go. So it's not probably going to help a great deal. It's a very dull day. Unless we have got some more lights we can switch on around the place. So there's the speaker, barrow, audio. Have we got any more lights anywhere? Probably not. It's annoying, isn't it? It's so dull in here. It's just a dull day, I'm afraid. Okay. So let's just double check. Brakes are off, gust locks off, engines are good to go, flaps are correct, no warnings. Here we go. So max throttle just to get up to speed. Gently pull back and we're in the air. Gear up. Autopilot on, and it hasn't gone after the nav mode look. Oh, it has though, sorry. It's gone LNav. Yeah, it's good. And VNav IAS is kicked in. So I've gone to notch on the... Oh no, that's not notch, that's notch. On the power, so we can go to climb mode now, or max continuous climb. For the moment. So flaps can come up and we can start moving that target airspeed up. Should we have a look outside and see what's happening? Oh, was that the cabin lights I put on bright earlier? Yeah, because I wasn't, yeah, flight compartment. If I put that on off. No, they're still on. Interesting. I'll have to have a look around while we're flying. That's the cabin. Oh, there we go, cabin lights. We should come up out of this weather fairly quickly. So let's go and have a quick look at Navigraph charts. And we're following this plan, or we should be. I'm just looking for the transition altitude, 11,000 feet. Okay, that's fine. Should we leave this just showing the flight plan up here? It's a bit murky, isn't it? Oh, we're coming out of the first layer, which is good. Yeah, I'm just reading the live stream comments there. The ATR is fantastic fun. Just keep an eye on it on the climb out. Make sure we're doing okay. So what we're going to do is go for VNav and see what it does. I wonder if we can go for max continuous, if it will climb harder. Yes, it will. We put extra fuel in, remember, so we don't have to be careful. So we'll get to altitude a lot more quickly. So Lee's asking if I'm going to get the Atmos weather. No, I'm not buying any more big add-ons for Flight Sim 2020 because we're only a month away from the new sim and it won't need any of it. Just keeping an eye on everything. Autopilot's on, flight director's on, LNAV is on, VNav, IAS is on. And as you can see, it's raining. But we're climbing out of it. Remember, we're climbing out to, what was it, 19,000 feet was on the flight plan. So we should be above it fairly soon. We're wandering around a little bit on climb rate. That's pretty dark behind us, isn't it? In the middle of this rain cloud. I wonder if we can see it on Navigraph. So if we pull up the weather. Yeah. So are we going to get out of the weather anytime soon? Yeah. So probably 100 miles into the route. But then we'll fly into more of it. And there's bits of showers over the coast of Japan, but that might have changed by the time we get there. We're just leaving Taipei in horrific weather, that's all. So it looks like we're going to be... So what altitude is that at? That's at 20,000 feet. We're only at 10 at the moment. So yeah, we will be clearing it soon. And then our cruise level is there. So we're going to be in it most of the way though, I'm afraid. So we're not going to get to see much today. But that's half the fun of having live weather, isn't it? You never know what you're going to get. So we just come through 10,000 feet, so the landing lights can come off. Coming up to 11,000 feet, at which point we change the barometric pressure. Do we get a button in this one to switch it to... That's a good point, actually. Where is the baro button? It was over here, wasn't it? So you can press it for standard, okay. So we're coming up to 11,000, which is the transition altitude. I wonder if this has got automated systems to tell us, like the modern jets. So I wonder if the baro will start flashing or put a box around it or anything like that. Let's see what happens. So there's our transition altitude. Hasn't done anything, has it? So we just go to standard. Does that synchronize? Does it do it both sides of the cockpit? Yes, it does. I don't think we're going to get to see much today, but we're going to see some very pretty rain in amongst the cloud layers. And bits of sunshine peeking through here and there. Can we get the weather up on this display? Will it show? Be WX, won't it? Hang on a second, let me turn head tracking off to do it. No, we'll just leave the navigation display on. climb rate on this is a bit rubbish, isn't it? You're going to get about 400 feet a minute. So I'm going to leave it in max continuous thrust. You're supposed to leave it in notch all the time for the fade throttle system, I guess, to look after doing things, but so let's go and zoom out a bit more, or increase the range. And again, maybe. So it's estimating ZQ before we get to our flight level. Okay. Can we not force the engines to go a bit harder than this? I wonder if it damages them. Just watching the numbers. So like I said, hopefully we'll break out of it in a little while. So let's have a look at the map. Yeah, so ZQ is about the point we should leave the rain. If we're at flight level 190, it's between ZQ and Lilra will emerge. So that's another 80 miles out in front of us. Once we've finished climbing though, we can speed up a little bit. So at the moment we are departing Taipei in this tropical storm and flying out towards the first island of our journey. The so Miyakojima. The small island next to it is Shimojishima. So after that island, we're basically island hopping all the way, which is a safe way to do it, because you can obviously do an emergency landing if you need to. So we've got Okinawa is the next big island. And then hopping across towards mainland Japan. But if you go and look on LittleNavMap, because it's got Google Maps on it obviously, you can see the route here. So we've got, there's that first one, but underneath the route there's Okinawa, there's Yoron, there's, now what's the actual island called? Okinurabujima. But I don't think that's the island name. Yeah, the Google Terrain View isn't great at putting labels on things. It can be misleading sometimes. So let's put that first leg out across to Miyakojima. In which case we won't see much out of the window for the first little while. So someone in the live stream is asking how the map works. It doesn't really have a map, but it has a navigation display. It has obviously engine displays. So it's kind of It's got, you know, lots of features. But it's really about just navigating from A to B, isn't it? I don't think it's got weather radar. I may be wrong. I haven't dug around too much. Unless this does work. Should we try it? If we turn it on... Oh, it does work. There we go. So we do get a weather radar. So that's going to show you obviously where the rain is. I don't know if we can play with the gain, if it will make any difference. Should we turn the head tracking off for a moment? We'll have a play with it. No, it doesn't really do anything. It just shows the default weather from Flight Sim, I think. So what other options does it have here? Oh, does it have a map as well then? So if we go... I wonder what Gmap means. That's the test signal. We'll leave it on radar. It's better than nothing. So how well does it track GPS? It's very good at it. It's a modern aeroplane at the end of the day. Oh, we have a rainbow. So if we zoom out far enough... Yay, we see the whole thing. Fantastic. And we see a secondary rainbow. Do we get to see a tertiary one? Sort just about maybe out there. That's cool, isn't it? Seeing the secondary. I'm not sure if the sim's got the third one. It's still cool to see rainbows though, isn't it? It's a nice surprise. So if anybody's wondering, if you go up a tall building with a hose pipe and spray a fine mist into the air on a sunny day, you can make circular rainbows. You just have to get the geometry right of where you're standing, where the hose is, and where the light is. Okay, we're coming up towards our cruise altitude, which we have rushed up to. We had excess fuel left over there, remember, so that's helped us enormously. And remember, this doesn't have auto throttle, so it's got climb modes, but once we get into cruise, we'll just have to go, I guess we go to notch and go to cruise mode when we get to 19,000. Oh, it's getting ice accretion. So we're going to come up and look for the de-icing. Okay, we're within 1,000 feet of our target altitude. This has got some ginormous boots on it, hasn't it? So I am going to cheat and go vertical speed to get to the altitude that we want to get to, and we'll worry about speed later. We'll force it to 1,000 feet a minute. The speed will bleed off. We just want to get to 19,000, and then we'll let it accelerate again. It's not going to lose too much speed in doing so. Famous last words. Just as you get into the thin air, obviously I'm not following book numbers, so as you get into the thin air you're not going to make higher airspeeds anyway. There we go, it's captured altitude. Look at the speed fall off when we put it back to normal climb mode instead of maximum continuous thrust. It's in the last 100 feet, come on, you can do it. Altitude is capturing, 40 feet away. I think the ice has gone away, hasn't it? Can we see outside air temperature on here anywhere? True air temperature is 5. So yeah, it's kind of borderline, isn't it? Trouble is, because of all this cloud, there's going to be a lot of moisture around. So I guess we leave it on until we're out to past ZQ, which is where we think the weather's going to break. Okay, we're just on 19,000 feet, so we're going to go to cruise and notch on the engines. And they'll probably either slow down, or is it going to slow down too much? It's still saying icing over here. Is that just telling us that we've got icing on though? Probably is. Should we turn it off for a bit and see if it complains? I think we're through the worst of it. Whoops. Oh no, we're getting icing form straight away. Look, let's go and solve that again. Props, rudders, elevators, side windows. It's not more than 10 degrees. Airframe on. Should be okay. What does that do then? Mode cell. Oh, it's for the mode cell. Okay, yeah. So has that got rid of it? It's still a little bit formed there. It might take a while to vanish. Okay, so hopefully we'll clear out of this weather in a bit, and then obviously the icing risk will go away if we can just get out of the cloud. Let's have a look at Navigraph. So it's after ZQ. We should come into less dense air. Or less just looking at numbers, I become paranoid when things happen. So we can get rid of that procedure again. We don't really want to know about it. We're not doing the checklists. Let's have a look. Navigraph. That's some pretty wicked weather, isn't it? So that's Okinawa. The biggest, strongest rainbow I've ever seen in the sim. Oh, that ice is building up, isn't it? Let's go and have a look at those controls then and see if we can figure them out. Okay, that's fast and slow. Aileron, side windows, mode. We'll find out what happens, won't we? We are icing up. But like I said, another 30 or so miles, we hopefully... You can see the sun is brightening up in front of us. So despite the airplane's best attempts to stop itself from icing up, it's icing up. So we're just going past ZQ. So we'll just hope for the best. Yeah, you can see it is clearing out there. You see ice forming. Yeah, I'm just looking at live stream comments. Magnar's brilliant, isn't he? I will admit I don't know anywhere near as much as I should about this aeroplane because I don't fly it often enough, but it is fascinating. So let's go and just go up the flight plan page. We'll clear the message out so it's not blinking at us. So we're en route to ZQ. So we're looking for... well, let's give us an entire route. So if we go next, next, next. So this is in how 050 hours. So we go next, next, next. That makes no sense. They're leg times, aren't they? Okay, so 3 hours 42 to RJFY. One hour 26 into the flight to ZQ. Or is that no? That's interesting. Do we have a clock in here? I'm just trying to figure out what they're showing us. Okay, that's local time. Because I advanced time. So we had some daytime, because this otherwise we would have been in the middle of the night, which wouldn't have been much fun. So this is UTC, but advanced on, if that makes sense. So I've moved it forward several hours from where it should be. It's a good point, actually. If we were to change the time of day now to put it on live, we'll see the sun come up soon, which would be quite nice. So can we find the rest of the light switches? Not easily. The sun will come up soon. It will make it nice and bright outside. We can see though now with the correct time, you can see that the weather is clearing in front of us. So we'll do that. So we'll thaw out hopefully in the sunshine. So Andrea is saying, one can't master dozens of aircraft. Well, I try. No, to be honest, my interest is always in the systems and the way, you know, things work. I like picking things to bits and just understanding how the different systems interoperate. So we could put the wing lights are really so the crew can look out and see the reflections to see if they can see ice. Obviously we can see it. Trouble is, I'm not sure how the boots controls work in this, because you have to turn them off and on, don't you? Or on and off, I should say, to make them flex. I'm not sure how it works. Like I said, as soon as we get out into the sunshine, hopefully it will help. And we're heading that way, look. Just having a good look around while we've got some time at the switches to see what we've actually got at our disposal. So there's the cabin lights. What do we get over on the co-pilot's panel over here? Interesting. Does it match the... No, the pilot gets the other ones, doesn't he? The AC and DC. So there's tours. Hmm. So the reason we're getting an icing AOA is what will have happened, because we've got some ice formed on the leading edge. It will affect the aerodynamic characteristics of the aircraft, so it's going to it's going to affect the stall speed. It will raise the stall speed, so we can't fly at such high angles of attack than we would have been able to. Aha. Should we put the weather back to live time and see what it looks like? Is the sun coming up yet? Nearly. Just see it peaking. We're going to get to see the sunrise, aren't we? So should we... I'll leave it outside actually. So we're back on live time. What I'll do as well is go open window layout, default, no, minimal, okay, and that will show the weather. So we're about to get a gentle tailwind, which will be quite cool when we make the turn. So there's the island that we'll turn over the top of. Let's move this over this side, out of the way. And go to taskbar behaviors, automatically hide the taskbar. There we go. So we can see the sunrise. Why is that doing that? What application has left that dialogue up there? Was it Navigraph? Was it LittleNavMap? Was it the browser? Oh, it was the browser. Just being a bit rubbish. Yeah, should we minimise everything for the moment and just enjoy the sunrise as it happens? Very cool, isn't it? I should have been running Volanta, shouldn't I? Let's go and run it in the background. At least it will have the second half of the trip. So this is W13, it's the 13th leg of our round the world trip. And we want to Ooh, there's the actual aeroplane that we're on. So add flight plan, import from Simbrief. And there we are on our route. So I am John Beckett on Simbrief. Sorry, on Volanta. So you should be able to find me. Let's go and change this flight to GJ Beck. Flight number is going to be W13. And we'll leave that out of the way. Obviously you can see it's going to be in 3D now. Oh, hello. Why is that not dragging around? It's not drawing the tracks. Is it having a bit of a nightmare? 3D mode. Anyway, we'll leave it running. Accept. So I tried to record the flights in Volanta if I can. Hopefully we'll finish the round the world trip before the new flight sim comes out. So I'm going to go make a coffee in a minute. I might go and have a break for quite some time. So if I leave LittleNavMap up in the corner, I guess I could run Notepad as well, couldn't I? And leave a message on the screen for anybody that sees it. Actually, have I got sticky notes installed? Sticky notes needs an update. Wonderful. Try again. Why can't it update itself? Oh, it's doing it. So, what I should be able to do then is put this over to one side. And leave a note on the screen. Back in a little while. Taking a break. We'll be back for Okinawa. And, of course, Japan. So then, how does this work? There we go. So then I want that in the screen as well, and my sticky note. I should be able to make the sticky note smaller. It's not bad, is it? It's quite. We'll make it shorter because it can wrap. Very cool, isn't it? The street lights and the island below. Hopefully the aeroplane will slowly thaw out with the sun on it. I'll just hang on until we make the turn, which is coming up in a few moments, just so I can recenter the camera with watching the sun coming up. The sim does look amazing, doesn't it? I'm going to go and turn the icing off for the moment. I'm hoping that it's not too bad out there. On second thoughts, that's showing 2 degrees. No, I'm going to have to leave it on, aren't I? It's a real shame. So Okinawa is at the next VOR basically, so we can make this window smaller and we can see when we're going to get there, roughly. So Mr. Bullseye says, what's the cost associated with leaving de-icing on? Fuel. You're using some of the energy generated by the engines to generate heat. So the only reason we've got a problem with icing, it is cold, and we've just been through a freezing tropical storm. So the first sort of 100 miles we were in really thick, horrible, freezing cold clouds. So we got absolutely pelted with moist, cold air. But hopefully as the sun comes up, if it's simulated, then it will warm us up nicely. Although we are still at 19,000 feet, which is cold anyway. So I'm going to have a break and I'll be back in a bit. I'm just going to go and turn the microphone off, so I'll be back later on. Okay, I'm back. Just make sure I am back, yes. So just answering a few questions. Someone asked, am I in a closed group tonight, not seeing you? I had the traffic turned off. I was recording a video the other night to show a new aeroplane. The moment I arrived on the ground at an airport where I wanted to start recording, somebody arrived and parked right in front of the camera. I turned around and faced the other way and they taxied round and parked in front of the camera again. So I had to turn the data off. No, it was blatant. Every time I turned the aeroplane around, they parked in front of me. They made a conscious decision to try and keep doing it. So I did. I live streamed the group flight with Virtual Flight the other night, and I had to apologise to everybody watching because somebody, I'm guessing somebody very young in an F-22, kept buzzing me for the first hour, doing barrel rolls in front of me at every opportunity. Yeah, I did get their name, but there's no point doing anything about it. Just hopefully they'll realise at some point in their life that don't do that. I try not to be too negative, so I just switch off the multiplayer if it's getting a bit much. We're thawing out. I don't know if anybody noticed, the boots have almost completely cleared out now. So the temperatures outside haven't changed. So whether it's just the de-icing is working just very slowly. But we've still got some bits of ice on the nose. It's gone from the sides of the fuse. Oh no, there's a little bit left here. It's mostly gone from the nacelles for the engines. So we are approaching Okinawa soon. There it is, out in front of us. I guess that's the beginning of... It's under the cloud over there, I guess. Let's have a look at the map. Let's have a look at a bigger scale. Okay, so the main landmass is under the cloud over there. Those few islands we can see are those ones. Keramashoto National Park, or Mashoto, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. But the main landmass is off the right side of our nose, it's just under that cloud, I think. Can't quite see it yet. So this is showing UTC. We're still on British summertime in the UK. Should be changing soon actually. So this is showing an hour behind. So I'm still on +1. So it's 11 PM here, 10 PM in UTC. So this is live weather and time off the coast of Japan. So we're approaching Okinawa. Let's have a look on Navigraph and see what the weather's looking like. So it's fairly clear for the next little while, and then it will get terrible again for most of the way in. So I think we might be leaving the anti-ice on most of the way, and we'll keep an eye on the temperatures. Unfortunately, in this aeroplane, we can't really go high enough to avoid it. Or the flight plan doesn't call for it anyway. And look, you can see this wall of cloud coming. That's super useful, isn't it? We might skim across the top of it, maybe. It's always deceiving, isn't it? What altitude you might approach it at. So, yes, it's set to... I'm just reading the live stream comments. Someone's asking about the power management mode. I went through the modes. On the climb out, I got impatient and went to max continuous thrust. And I also pushed the throttles forward from notch out to max power for a little while. But it's not actually max power, is it? It's... what's the orange range called? It's not max. There's an in-between setting. It probably says in the calibration, actually. If you go to throttle setup, you've got notch ramp. So ramp is the next detent. So I ran, but ever since I got into cruise, I put them into notch, and it settled down about 180 indicated. Which is something like, what was it, 280 over the ground. Fuel, I put too much fuel in. Oh, I put more fuel than I needed in at takeoff because I anticipated probably running the engines harder than the flight plan dictated. So we've got lots and lots of fuel, so not something to worry about. You can see over here, look. We've got 575. Got lots and lots and lots. That's the temperature, sorry. Fuel levels, fuel levels. Where do we find out the fuel levels on this thing? Oh, here we go. It's on the next screen. So, I'm sorry. Completely thrown sideways then. I was reading the wrong screen. Fuel flow is 285 kilograms an hour. And we've got a lot. So we can basically keep flying for many hours if we need to. But we should be done by about 1:30 maybe local time. So a couple of hours time. You can work it out, can't you? We're doing 280 knots. And we are how far from Japan? Measure distance. 365 divided by 280. Will take 1.3 hours from now. So yeah, it's not even that. So half past midnight we should be arriving over the top of Japan if we just carry on at the speed we're doing. Now we should be able to look down now and see Okinawa. Oh, he says famous last words. Okinawa is below us. But the simulator gods, or sorry, the real weather gods are not shining on us. You can just see it peeking out around the edge of that cloud down there. A bit of landmass. There's another couple of islands over there. So the island we are seeing is that one, Maijima Island. Is there, and the ones over here are this little collection over here. So Nagano Island and Kamiyama Island are those two. What about the little one? What's that called? It doesn't have a Kyushu Island. But we're not going to see much. We can see bits through the gaps in the clouds of Okinawa. Sim looks amazing, doesn't it? Very cool. Look at the bursts through the different layers. It's very clever. You can see the runways down there, look. So I've got some chocolate biscuits here. I'm going to take the headset off to eat one, otherwise you'll hear me munching. It'll probably make everybody hungry or disgust you. So let's leave that in place, and we'll put this up in the corner of the screen so you can see us overfly Okinawa, so at least you know where we are over Okinawa, even if you can't see it. Back in a minute. Okay, so we can start to see bits of Okinawa through the cloud, which is nice. Just going to check the volume levels. So yeah, you can hear me over the engines. I could turn it up a little bit, couldn't I? Hear the engines a bit more. Looks amazing, doesn't it? It's very cool. I don't know very much at all about Okinawa, I'm afraid, other than it's where Mr. Miyagi came from. So other than fictional characters in dodgy karate movies, yeah, I'm afraid to say I don't know much. We could look it up on Wikipedia, I guess. Okinawa. Okinawa, if I can spell it, this is. Okinawa Island. But there's a prefecture and an island. Okay, so the entire island chain is Okinawa Prefecture. Naha is the capital and largest city, with the other major cities including Okinawa, Aruma and Uraso. They are called the Ryukyu Islands, including Okinawa, Daito, Sakishima, although those are the groups of islands. Look at this cloud, it's amazing, isn't it? Looks stunning in the sunshine. So Mr. Bullseye in the live stream comments is saying he doesn't know how 2024 is going to look any better. It will. And that's not because I have inside information. It's modelling other types of cloud that this doesn't model. This is very good at fluffy clouds. It doesn't do many different cloud types though. The new sim can do other types of cloud, and it can do the high altitude cloud as well properly. Also, it can relate itself to the airstream around physical objects in the landscape, so mountains and things. So the clouds will form at appropriate places. Obviously, it's reading from live weather data as well, but the clouds will interact with the land. It's very clever though, isn't it, the way they've done the cloud. And make no mistake, this is all sleight of hand with drawing clouds. It's a very, very clever trick. And when you see it close up, and yeah, you see the pixelation, and it kind of gives the game away a little bit. They're kind of like voxels, as far as I understand. It's the same way as it draws so many trees and does them you know, so quickly. It's a trick that fools your eye. Oh, so somebody wants me to read out some Wikipedia pages. I found this out recently. Somebody said, you know, with your accent, you could get away with doing voice narration and things like that, make some money at it. But I don't. So here we go, history of the Okinawa prefecture. The oldest evidence of human existence on the Ryukyu Islands is from the Stone Age and was discovered in Naha and Yaeyama. Some human bone fragments thought to be from the Paleolithic era were unearthed from a site in Naha, but the artifact was lost in transportation before it was examined. The first mention of the word Ryukyu was written in the Book of Sui. Okinawa was the Japanese word identifying the islands, first seen in the biography of Jianzhen, written in 779. Agricultural societies began in the 8th century, slowly developed until the 12th century. Since the islands are located at the eastern perimeter of the East China Sea, relatively close to Japan, China and Southeast Asia, the Ryukyu Kingdom became a prosperous trading nation. Also, during this period, many gusukus, similar to castles, were constructed. The Ryukyu Kingdom entered into the Imperial Chinese tributary system under the Ming Dynasty, beginning in the 15th century, which established economic relations between the two nations. I have no idea what half these things are. My knowledge of world history is quite sparse. I know bits and pieces, but only things that, you know, have taken my interest over the years. I'm going to skip over the military side of it, because Okinawa is obviously famous in several wars. Okay. Look at that scenery in the sim, it's awesome, isn't it? Oh, hello, we've got company. Should we give away who they are? Oh, I just pressed the name key. Oh, of course I haven't got focus on the sim, have I? Sorry. Let's try that again. CJM845, whoever that is. Somebody who hasn't changed their name. So we're heading out across the ocean. If we have a look at Google Maps as well, I've got a second. I've got my old NVIDIA 3080 PC alongside the 4090 PC. So I don't know if to sell it or keep it. And I did consider using it for streaming, but I don't know what hardware is involved in doing that, of taking the video feed from one machine and sending it to a screen and to another machine that streams it out. So then the horsepower involved in streaming doesn't have any effect on the machine that's running Flight Sim. But I don't know how you do that. So at the moment I've got two PCs, and they're warming the room up nicely. They're better than having two radiators. So yeah, I'll have to have a read up about how pass-through works. I know the big money, the influencers and people on the internet, they use a separate machine for streaming. But I've never really looked into it. So 845 Sim is saying my dad should be able to set it up. Yeah. Anyone that's watching this, my dad has the most ridiculous flight simulator setup you will ever see. And if you go and search my channel, I did a video on it. Yeah, it's madness. He's replaced the machine since then, actually, the actual PC. He's now got a similar one to mine. It's got 4090 RTX in it and 64 gig of RAM and all the rest of it. His is actually higher spec than mine in terms of storage. But I have been looking at upgrading the storage on this one that I've just bought, because I just bought one off the peg, and it's only got, well, I say it's got a 4 terabytes NVMe in it, and that's got Windows on it. I would rather run Flight Sim on a separate NVMe so it doesn't murder the operating system drive or NVMe card. So yeah, it would be an expensive upgrade, but I'm thinking about putting a second 4 terabyte NVMe in it to put the simulator on with, add-ons and all the rest of it. Okay, so we're saying goodbye to Okinawa. We overflew the entire island. So we're about to pass by Yoron. So if we go and look below, you can see it below us, and there's the airfield. So we go and look on the map. It's the island of Yoron. Quite populous, isn't it? Looking around it at the houses, a lot of farming. I guess we could find out from Wikipedia, couldn't we? I could tell you all about it. Has a population of 6,000 people and is administered as the town of Yoron, Kagoshima. Much of the island is within the borders of the Amami-Gunto National Park. It is uncertain when Yoron Island was first settled. It was ruled by the Aji nobility from the 8th century onwards. From 1266 it was part of the Hokuzan Kingdom until its incorporation into the Ryukyu Kingdom in 1416. The samurai force from Satsuma Domain went around Yoron on their way to Okinawa during the 1609 invasion of Ryukyu, after which its incorporation into the official holdings of that domain was recognized by the Tokugawa shogunate in 1624. The feudal history of Japan is fascinating, isn't it? All of these different areas all fought with each other. It's all tremendously political, the whole thing. There's warlords and so I'm going to look inside, see what speed we're doing. We're doing 187 knots indicated. So ground speed is 278 knots. True airspeed 257 knots, and true air temperature 2 degrees. We've got lots and lots of fuel. More than we need. We're doing well. And we are, if we look at next page and next page, we're looking at 23 hours 28 arrival at the destination, so 11:30. So in about an hour and 10 minutes, if all goes well, we should arrive at the Japanese mainland. So the next island we are approaching, if we go and have a look on the map, Wadamari. If that's the island name, you can't always trust Google Maps. Let's go and search for it. Wadamari. I can't type. Wadamari. Kagoshima. No, it's just, so the island is Kagoshima. Yeah, so just like I said, you can't always trust that Google Terrain View will tell you the actual island names. There's a huge mountain there, look, in the middle. Or volcano, I guess. It's probably extinct, isn't it? Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong place, sorry. Kagoshima is on the mainland, as far as I can tell. Let me go and look at Google Maps to find out the proper name of this place. See, look, it won't tell us the name. Wadamari. Isn't that interesting? No matter what zoom level you show the island in Google, it will not tell you its name. Oshima District, Kogashima. Kogashima is the name of the island. Kagoshima. Have I got that right? No. Kagoshima. Okay. Maybe I did have it right and I just looked at the map incorrectly. Kagoshima. Kagoshima is located in ancient Satsuma province and was the center of the territory of the Shimatsu clan from the late Kamakura period. So I'm just trying to look up some maps here. I don't think this is correct. This is somewhere else. Yeah, this is not where we're looking at. Wadamari, I think we're looking at. Isn't it funny how the maps on the internet can fail you so easily? No, that's just a town, that's not the island. Okay, I think I found it. The island, which this doesn't appear on Google Maps, is Okino-Rabujima, also known as Okino-Rabu, is one of the Satsunan Islands. (93 kilometers squared), has a population of approximately 14,000 people. So I'm going to have a job saying this name, aren't I? Okino-Rabujima is isolated from the other Amami Islands and is located in between Tokunoshima and Yoronjima, approximately 536 kilometers south of the southern tip of Kyushu, 60 kilometers north of Okinawa. So it's a coral atoll, basically. So it sounds like it was settled in about the 8th century, similar to some of the other islands. So the next island coming will hopefully get this one right. Is Tokunoshima. Now, is that the name of the island, or of the major town, or? Tokunoshima. Tokino Island in English, well, that's the anglicised version, in the Amami archipelago of the southern Satsunan Islands. So let's have a look at it as we pass by. Tokunoshima is the second largest island in the Amami Islands after Amami Oshima and the 15th largest island in Japan. It is more generally included within the Satsunan and Ryukyu archipelagos. Isolated from other Amami Islands, Tokunoshima is located halfway between Amami Oshima and Okurabujima. Oh my word. It's of volcanic origin, a length of approximately 25 kilometers. Just skimming some of this because it's quite boring. A series of large offshore rocks known as Tonbura rocks are a prominent feature in the ocean off the northeastern coast of the island. That's going to be out over there somewhere, isn't it? So they think it was settled in the 720s. Starting in the 11th century, Tokonishima was the primary producer of grey stoneware called Kamui ware, which has been found in hundreds of archaeological sites throughout the Ryukyu Islands and southern Kyushu. So it's probably some nice clay here, I guess. So in 2006, Prime Minister Yukio Hatoyama offered the use of Tokonishima to the United States as a relocation site for the Marine Corps Air Station Futenma, leading to widespread protests and opposition from local officials. 16,000 people signed a petition in 2010, which was more than half of the island's population. They have an indigenous language, the Ryukyuan language, called Tokonishima, is known on the island as Semaguchi, or in Japanese, Shimaguchi, island language. However, the language has now largely been supplanted by standard Japanese. The Tokonishima words for thank you, Oborodaran, Tokonishima and Amagi towns, and Oborodani, are widely known even among Japanese speakers. Tokonishima is known for Togyu, a Japanese style of bullfighting in which human coaches encourage bulls with locked horns to push each other out of a ring. Togyu is a major event on the island, and much of the island's culture revolves around the bullfights. Because of the importance of Togyu, Tokonishima's mascot and main icon is a Togyu bull. There we go. Learn something new every day. Isn't this simulator amazing? We're flying over parts of the world we've never seen, and they're just rendered in stunning detail. They really have just covered the entire planet. I guess that's that US space down there, isn't it? So, how are we doing? So it's a straight line now for the next couple of hundred miles probably out across the island. So we've got another island coming up. So final one and then I'll shut up honestly. So behind this cloud over here is another island coming, as you can see, Amami Island, which we've already heard about in references from the other islands. So Amami Islands within the Ryukyu Islands. It's famous for earthenware, apparently, 6,000 years ago. You can see you can see the islands out there in the mist. Look, very cool. Among Japanese literature, mention of the islands first appeared in the late 7th century. So that's the 600s. The Nihon Shoki contains an entry dated 657 referring to Amami Shima, Amami Island, and to Amami Bito, Amami people, in 682. The Shoku Nihongi refers to Amami in 699, and Amami... Okay, so Amami appears twice, with two slightly different spellings, or two different pictograms, in 714. Interesting. So there's a lot of detail on the Wikipedia page. It's got a very rich history. So dialects spoken in a large part of the Amami Islands are collectively known as the Amami language. It is divided into several dialects: the Kikai dialect, North Amami dialect, South Amami dialect, and Tokushima dialect. Dialects spoken in the southern islands of Okinarabu and Yoron are part of the Kanigami language, centered on northern Okinawa Island. You don't think of these islands that they'd all have their own languages, but yeah, they did. Or not, not entirely different languages, but very similar. Oh, look at those clouds. So 845 Sim is saying, do you know how to use speed control? Yeah, it's there isn't one. It's for climb and descent. So reading up on it, when you're in cruise, you just leave this on the notch setting, which is the white area, and you can calibrate that in the tablet so you can get to it easily. You can see it here, look, throttle calibration. So you can calibrate notch, and you can give it a notch tolerance level as well. But yeah, so the speed mode, or the target airspeed, refers to IAS mode when you are changing altitude. So say you are descending, and say I set my target airspeed for 188 knots, for example, which I've just done, look, and then I set my target altitude for 10,000 feet maybe, and then all I do is pull the throttle back, and the aeroplane will maintain that speed by descending. Obviously, if I increase the throttle and I wanted to climb, it would maintain that speed by climbing. So yeah, it's IAS mode is up there. So yeah, speed mode is the same on multiple aircraft that don't have an auto throttle, but they can use pitch to control airspeed. Yeah, so it doesn't manage the speed, it manages the pitch to keep the speed where you wanted it. So when you're in level flight, it means nothing. Yeah, the target airspeed doesn't mean a thing while you're in level cruise flight. It's only when you're in a descent or climb mode that it comes into play. And then only if you've chosen the mode that uses it. Obviously, if you go for vertical speed mode, it won't take any notice of it, and that's why vertical speed mode is so dangerous. Unless you are keeping an eye on things. Okay, so where are we on the map? We're just passing by. That's a huge island archipelago, isn't it? So that was the Amami Islands. Very pretty. I've got a large glass of wine here, and it's the second one. So if I completely mess up the landing in Japan, you'll know why. Okay, so we've got quite a long stretch now with some really small islands along the way. So we've got Takaraima over off the left of our nose. There appears to be the top of a volcano sticking out here. Yakuwatajima. There's another one there, look. Kodakarajima. And then another one. So they're obviously the top of under ocean mountains, aren't they? Just poking through. There's another one there, look. I'm guessing if we... Can we get Google Earth on here? Because that will show the under... Google Earth. Google Earth. Let's see if it works. Give it a moment. Oh hello, the browser's completely locked. Oh, it was just loading, that's all. Oh, it doesn't want to do it while the sim's running. So there's the islands that we've just come past, the Amami. Yeah, you can see the relief under the water here. Does this work in 3D as well? Yeah, it does. Does it work the same as Google Maps? Yeah, you hold shift on. So Toshima, oh there it's quite a slight relief. Oh, that's a shame. But yeah, you can see that those mountains underneath the water, obviously they break through here and there. Look at that shelf, it's incredible, isn't it? All the way along the seaboard of Japan. I wonder how deep that is. Carries on all the way around, look. Amazing. So we are somewhere along here at the moment. And the weather is about to close in on us. Oh great. Ought to keep an eye on the aeroplane then. We've still got the icing on, haven't we? And let's keep an eye on these temperatures. So 2 and -6, but we're about to become either a snowball or let's see what happens. Let's go and have a look at Navigraph, because they've got the weather plot, haven't they? Yeah, so okay, it's not too bad. It's for about the next 100 miles or so. But it's not actually raining. That's fine. And you can actually see through it. Still got our friend up there. Yep. comes some more weather. Okay, I'm going to leave this running for a bit, and I'm going to go and stretch my legs before we arrive in Japan. So I'll open this up down the side of the screen. So we've got about how far. Let's draw a distance measurement on here. 160 miles to go, so about half an hour. Yeah, that checks out with the time with what we said. .170 miles. I'm just basing, oh no, a bit more than that, 40 minutes, 45 minutes maybe, until we get there. So I'm going to go and stretch my legs. I'll be back soon. I'll just go and turn the microphone off so I don't annoy you too much. close some of these windows down. LittleNavMap back in the corner so everybody can see where we are, and while we're flying the route I'm going to go, and I just realised I didn't post the flight earlier with the de Havilland Vampire out to my blog, so I'll go and do that while we're in the air. So the weather's looking okay, isn't it, at the moment? Should we have a look at the plan on Navigraph? So I think we might have got away with it all the way into Japan. So does that mean we can get away with turning the icing off now? Let's see what happens. If it ices up, I'll turn it back on. See if any forms. Oh, saying that, there's a tiny bit on the wing there. We'll keep an eye on it. Tiny bit on the nacelles still. Hopefully, no, the sun has come up and we're fairly clear above this cloud. There's bits of wispy cloud we're still coming through though. Depends though, they're not really dense though, are they? Right, let's get this blog post out. Hey, we're getting closer. Let's remove that distance measurement, we don't need it anymore. So we're just flying over the top of Tsushima. Over to the right of us we've got Yakushima Island. Should we have a read about that one? I don't know if we can see it. Yeah, the cloud's a bit thick here to be able to see it. We're going to have to descend into that, by the way, soon. So top of descent is coming up to come into Kanoya. Unless we... Nagasaki's quite a long way away, isn't it? I was going to say, the only reason I say that is the approach into Nagasaki is absolutely beautiful. Or we could continue on down the coast, maybe fly low level around the coast because we've been at high altitude all route. And do another 50 or 60 miles round to Miyazaki. Maybe we might do that, just for a bit of fun. Or do we just call it at Kanoya? And then that gives us a nice starting point to start tackling Japan on a future flight. So probably turn Japan into 2 flights, maybe go as far as Yokohama or Tokyo, and then the rest of the way up before we jump across. See, the question is, do we do the whole of Japan, or do we jump off at Tokyo and do the long haul out to Honolulu in one go? And then jump. No, it would make sense, wouldn't it? Even if the trouble is, I don't really want to touch Russia, but I think it's unavoidable or unavoidable. And without getting into politics or anything, I just don't want to tempt anybody into writing or saying anything that they might regret. I know several people that live in Russia, and yeah. It's no fun for anybody, is it? Could happen to any of us that we get the situation that we're facing. Doesn't take long. I remember watching a documentary years ago with a lady that lived in Germany. She was a very elderly lady, but she was a teenager at the time of the rise of the how would you put it? The ultra right wing, what became the Nazi Party in Germany. And she said it was, no matter what your thoughts, when you get that many people following something, all logic goes out the window, and it's to think that you're on the side of something right. If a skilled salesman sells you it, it's difficult to. Well, let's just say hindsight is a wonderful thing, and it happens all over the world. I saw shades of it last night. I watched some of the debate in the US. So yeah, I'm probably going to go the Russia route purely because it makes sense geographically to do that, because then it gives us more to see later on. So if we go and hop off the top corner of Japan, go out across the islands, and we do maybe, how far is it? If we go from the last Japanese island, well, it's here, isn't it? They're Russian islands all the way to there. So from the mainland then, if we measure across to Alaska, 2,100 miles, I think we do it, and we miss Russia out just to avoid, although we could go for here, couldn't we? There's a stopping off point there, so 1,200 miles. That's much more doable. But I think we use a jet plane to do it, so it doesn't take too long. So you're looking at 4 hours with a long haul jet. And then we avoid that whole conversation of going anywhere near Russia. Like I said, I know loads of people in Russia, and I feel so sorry for them. Because, it's not of their choice that they're being demonized by the entire world now. And some of them are really lovely people. They didn't ask for this, just as we don't, you know, ask for what our governments do or don't do. Anyway, I'm not getting into politics. I promised I wouldn't, and I'm not going to. Having said that, I will repeat something I saw earlier which did make me smile. And I did kind of understand exactly what was meant by it. I watched some of the debate last night in the US, because obviously it's tremendously easy, isn't it, to watch something from afar. And when you're not involved in it and it has no bearing on your future. And I saw some reaction to the debate. First thing this morning I went and looked on the internet to see what the various networks were saying about what had gone on. And somebody mentioned that J.D. Vance had come across incredibly well, but they said that's because he's a very good liar. And it just reminded me, you know, that is the skill. It's the Jeff Winger. If you ever watch Community, he's a Jeff Winger. Who was it? It was Clinton. It was Clinton years ago. I remember seeing a comedian say Clinton was so good at lying, he could stand in front of you and tell you he wasn't there, and you'd believe him. But that's the ultimate skill of a politician, isn't it? Anyway, we're going to leave it there. None of them are really any much better than any of the others. We all live in a very similar world. We're all just people trying to get on with our lives. Let's leave it at that. Right, so we got a caution coming on. Why have we got a caution? Oh, it's because of the ice accretion. Icing, warning, icing. And it's started to form again, look. So we're going to go and turn the icing controls back on. It's because we're getting near those clouds. Whoa, we got faults across the board. I didn't do that. Why have we... Okay, is the sim broke? I think the sim might have broke. Everything has lit up. Does anything work? Okay, maybe it's just the sensors are frozen. Icing has come on. But every light in the aircraft has come on. Okay, we're going to descend. We may have to cut this short, you know. We look like we got a system problem going on. So we're going to descend. Manual control. Trimming the aeroplane slightly. We have manual control, but the whole thing is lit up like a Christmas tree. That would normally imply... Why would we be showing faults on everything? Don't overspeed. I can't cancel the warnings. I think the airplane's gone wrong.
Terrain awareness system test. Terrain awareness test complete.
So it looks like we're manual. I think the aeroplane's broken. I obviously mentioned JD Vance, and he has programming built into things to make them go wrong.
Terrain awareness test complete.
Yeah, it's gone wrong, hasn't it? I wonder if we can reboot the aeroplane. If we were to pull the battery on the avionics, nope, everything's lit up. Although, actually no, it's booting up, isn't it? So let's see what happens when it boots up. So we'll maintain the same heading. The attitude indicator's still working. So we're on the edge of overspeed. There we go. We've lit back up. We've still got faults showing everywhere though. I think the airplane's gone wrong. So we have one windscreen wiper going mad. Turn that off. Okay, so maybe we do look for somewhere to put the aeroplane down. Or do we carry on in now? I think we carry on. So we're not going to carry on around the coast, obviously, because we've got a problem. We got a serious system problem, but navigation screen's working, so we're probably fine. We just need to keep an eye on temperatures and things like that. So let's go and drop ourselves down. Throttle's working. So we're going straight for the mainland. Trying to avoid the cloud. Trim the airplane out for descent. So manual control all the way. Although maybe we can get away with heading bug mode. So there's the heading bug. Let's get it in front of us. Put it on heading mode. Go to vertical speed. What are we doing at the moment? About 2,000. So let's go and tell it to come down in vertical speed mode. There we go. Autopilot on. So it's working. We could target an airspeed, I guess, if we went for 220 knots. And then go for indicated airspeed mode. Okay. So yeah, it would appear the plane's gone wrong. Look, everything's just lit up. But it's still working to an extent. So we'll just have to go by our wits on the way in. Yeah, light is showing gear down, gear is not down. Hopefully we can get the gear down, we'll find out soon. Oh, that was a shame, wasn't it? That was all going so well. And then we've had a... this is the in the sim version of the bug from last night. How strange though, hey? It's suddenly just lit up like a Christmas tree. We haven't hit a test button, have we, that lights all... Let's go and have a look. That lights all the switches to make sure they're all working. Are there any testers anywhere? No, that's a squib test for the fires. Smoke test. There's going to be a switch somewhere that lights every switch up, because most airplanes have got it. There it is. That had been pushed up to test the annunciation light at some point. We have fixed our problem. But we can descend anyway. We're doing the right thing. I wonder what caused it to go into test mode then. I just suddenly remembered most of these complex aeroplanes, they have a test mode for the lights on all the switches, which lights everything up, and that's what was going on. It was just weird we didn't have an alarm. It was just all the lights were on. And that's what made me wonder. Oh crikey, we're going to have to be looking at VORs, aren't we? This is going to be fun. Oh, this is going to test us out then. Right, let's have a look at the map. We need to get our plans in order. We're at 10,000 feet descending. We want ILS, which suits for the wind. What's the wind on the ground at Kanoya? So 100 degrees, 3 knots. So actually it's coming from this side at ground level. How odd. So we've got tailwind over here, but the wind on the ground is down there, going the opposite direction. Or do we divert for the wind? Although it's only 3 knots, that's within limits to use the ILS still. So 11030, 265 degrees. So we want the nav radios, please. 11030. Transfer it to active. Oh, I've put 11090. 110. Helps if you click in there first. 110.30. Enter. And transfer it to active. We're going to go to ILS mode, or VOR mode I should say. So there's the airfield. So let's go and reduce the range. So we ideally want to fly the reciprocal, don't we? So we want 86 degrees on our heading. So we're on heading mode at the moment. 60, 70, 80, 6 degrees. So we'll fly past, turn around and come back in on the ILS. We're at 10,500 feet. Let's go and change our altitude pre-selector then to 5,000. And do indicated airspeed mode to get there. We'll set the target airspeed for 250. No, 240 knots is enough. So the airplane's going to descend fairly quickly. So then now we've got this working on ILS mode, it means the course knob can be used. And we can set it to the runway direction, which is 265 degrees. And there we go. So we're flying the reciprocal. We're off to the left, obviously, of the ILS signal because we haven't even got there yet. So you can see the airport's there. So we're going to fly up, turn around, and come back in. We're descending. We're at 9,000 feet, so we've got plenty of time to come down. We're only coming down at a couple of thousand feet a minute. Okay, let's go and pull the power back, which will make us descend. We're below 10,000 feet, so landing lights are coming on. The workload's going to get serious, isn't it? Especially with this being a low vis. What's it saying on the weather report for Kanoya? Oh, crikey, it's quite complicated. So broken 3,000, scattered 3,000, sorry, broken 5,000, broken 8,000. So it's bits of cloud all over the place on the way in. Interesting. Okay. We're going to go another 10 degrees to the right to give ourselves more room to turn. So heading... we'll go 95 degrees. What's the runway altitude? We need to find that out in a hurry. Elevation 206 feet, that's fine. It's fairly flat looking at the map. So we don't have to worry about hills. Almost down to 5,000. The distance on ILS1 or ILS on Nav1 is 3.7. We've gone past it now, so we're now tracking the opposite direction. We will straighten back up on our heading. Now we've got a bit more separation to the reciprocal, which was 85 degrees. We can see now the glide slope as well, so we'll continue out until the glide slope is below us, but we'll come down to, what was the altitude? 200 feet, so we're going down to 2,700 feet. Here comes the rain. And we're going to go indicated airspeed mode to get there. 210 knots is fine. Going to pull it back even further then. In fact, if we were to up the target airspeed, we can descend more quickly, can't we? Anything below 250 is good. So coming down to 2,700 feet, sorry, so that's 2,500 at 8 miles, should be a 3-degree glide slope. Here comes the rain, look on the radar. And here comes the glide slope. And we're showing 10 miles out. Okay. That's a bit of a surprise. Although we're not down to altitude yet, are we? So that would make sense. So we can spin the airplane round. So we've gone to altitude hold at 20, within a couple of 100 feet of the altitude. That's why it's flashing. Oh, it's climbing again. What's it doing? Crazy aeroplane. Let's go for altitude hold for the moment. There we go. So the vertical speed has tailed off. Speed is falling off, so we need to open the throttles gently just to maintain speed for the moment. 170 to 80 knots is fine. And we're going to U-turn the aeroplane to the left. So we are 13 miles out, gives us plenty of room. Whew. So we can go for first stage of flaps as well. Yeah, we're going to overshoot the center line, that's fine. Oh, we got visibility. Amazing. Don't need it yet. So we'll need to cut back across. So we'll go more angle than we need. So we'll go to 240 degrees. Can we get a view on here that shows... No, it's fine the way it is, to be honest. Because we're really looking at this now. I was just wondering if we could get an HSI kind of view here, but it's fine. So here comes the glide slope. So if we go to approach mode, what's the weather? 22 degrees. So 160 knots, let's get the gear down. Is the gear going to come out, is the question. Oh, it's working, hurrah. And here comes the lights. Fantastic. And we're on the glide slope. Oh, it's gone through the glide slope. Is it going to start descending or not? We're overspeeding. Do we have any way of countering that? Do we have spoilers? I'm on idle. What's going on? I can't slow down. More flaps. Will more flaps give me enough drag? Doesn't have spoilers, does it? Oh, it's slowing down now. Just took a while. Okay, I can't go for that level of flaps yet. I'm amazed that that held onto the autopilot when we oversped. I thought it would have cancelled it. I thought I'd have been going round again. Okay, so we've got basic control. We are how many miles out? 8 miles out. Okay, well I'll let it run on autopilot for a while and then I'll take over. Actually, I want to get a feel for it. I'm going to turn the autopilot off right now. Okay, full flaps. Throttle's good. The trim isn't. Okay, we're on the glide slope. We're to the left of the localizer, so we'll just turn back across it. That will do. We're going low. A bit more power. And turn left. Get back on the glide slope. Visibility isn't very helpful, is it? Let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. That's better. Let's get back down onto the glide slope. I'm going to have to almost dive onto it. I think the wind is gusting, that's the problem. So I'm suddenly getting enormous amounts of lift from time to time. So let's go and put head tracking on, and I can look down and look around if I need to. Ah, we can see the runway. Perfect. I wonder what caused the light test to come on. This is the trouble, isn't it? You get so used to aeroplanes being a little bit broken in the sim, you think the plane's gone wrong before you consider, although it did go wrong because something flicked the switch. It may have been me, I'm not sure.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Okay. So should we try the reverse pitch? So how quickly does the speed come off? That's enough. So where's the next taxiway? That was good fun. It gave us something to do, didn't it, on the final few minutes? So first of all, that bit of problem solving of what's going on with the aeroplane. I do wonder though what caused it to switch on the light test. Was it a mouse slip that did it? I can't think. I was on the outside view, wasn't I? And it came inside and everything was lit up. Okay, off the runway. Landing lights can come off. Strobe can come off. Taxi light is on. So where's the route back? I guess there's the buildings over there, aren't they? Let's not go cross country, hey? That was good fun though. You live and learn. Every flight you do, there's something to learn, isn't there? So having a bit of an emergency switches your brain on. And you suddenly start going into problem solving mode and thinking, how can we work around this? Just something told me there was nothing actually wrong with the aeroplane and there were no klaxons. So why were all the lights on? And that's when I started hunting to see if there was a light test switch. I know the more accurate aeroplanes have that. The MD-82 and 83 family have got it. I think the BAE 146 has it as well, where all of the lights come on to test that they're working, you know, that the bulbs are there. It's a shame the airport isn't very detailed, isn't it? It's obviously one of the stock airports. Let's put it to bring the airplane to a halt here and put the wheel brakes on. Put the brakes on. Shut the engines down. Obviously overhead we can go and turn things off that we turned on earlier. Everything's going to light up like a Christmas tree, isn't it? But most of this is absolutely fine being in a fault state. It's just turning off the obvious things like the lights. The pumps. And I think that's pretty much it. Okay, so in the tablet we should be able to then go and open the doors and the wheel chocks, and should we open the cargo door as well, and the tail prop. It's very cool, isn't it? Oh, there's our sister airplane over there. Obviously you get the synchronous operating of doors and things because it saves memory by using the same model. But yeah, I'm just looking at the live stream comments. I have no idea what caused the enunciation lights to go into test, which obviously lit up the whole cockpit. I should have twigged earlier, really, but unless you do these kind of things, you know, like failure practices or whatever, you don't go into that mindset of thinking what could cause this, or what can this aeroplane do? How well simulated is it? That was good fun. Thank you for following along. Hopefully that was fun to watch, even though we had a bit of a, you know, disaster, or not disaster, because we obviously safely made it home. But the weather was challenging. So we had ice to deal with, and then we had a low visibility approach into our destination. So today the destination was Kanoya, on the southern tip of the southern island of Japan. So we'll be, as I said, we'll be flying up through Japan on the next flight, and then on to the Alaskan Islands. So that's going to be interesting. I'm not sure how big the runways are on some of these, so that will have a factor on what aeroplane. Oh, Shemya has got a 10,000 foot runway. That's fine then. We can get in there with a big jet to refuel, and then maybe swap from that plane to something smaller to go island hopping on our way towards Alaska, and then we'll be able to come down the seaboard, cross through some of Canada along the way, so British Columbia and Calgary, then into the northern states of the US, come down through North Dakota, Wisconsin, Michigan, maybe cross over into Toronto for a bit of fun, cross to New Hampshire, and then over to Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, Greenland, Iceland, and back home. So those are the next couple of weeks. So far we've gone from the UK to Japan. So if we look at it at that scale, we've got 2/3 of it still to do. Oh no, we're getting towards halfway in 13. So I reckon within 26, remembering that some of these legs are enormous, so suddenly we'll have, yeah, the distance we've gone so far is similar to the distance once we hit landfall back to England. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.